We're just ordinary people living ordinary lives until we see someone on TV win a $25,000 prize. Come on down. I'll play any game for 10 seconds of fame. Come on down. I'll make a deal, just let me spin the wheel. Come on down. To win $1 million, all you need is a little luck and thorough knowledge of multiple disparate trivial subjects.
All right, welcome back to an all-new episode of Come On Down, the game show podcast that is currently taking place across 2 households in the Dallas-Fort Worth region.
And that is due to the fact that it seems like a whole bunch of God's dandruff is floating around in the sky outside right now.
Right, we've got a winter storm warning. We've got a winter storm going on in Texas right now, and it is winter. So it makes sense. It would be really weird if it was like a fall storm right now, but
Right.
It is indeed a winter storm.
Mm-hmm. And the warning is still in effect, even though it's happening right now, which is a little strange to me.
Yeah, they're warning us that the whole world is covered in white snow right now.
Right.
And don't drive because we don't know how to deal with that here because it's Texas.
Yeah. The huge pileup happened last week. It was really bad. So.
Yeah, so we are safely distanced.
It's weird, too, because we are actually in the same place, but we need to show... We can't be bad role models.
It's a solidarity thing.
Right. We need to pretend like we are distancing, but you are actually in the other room, and as you can tell, our rooms look very similar, I'm sure.
Does yours have a ridiculous bright teal walls painted?
Yeah. Actually, no. We had to repaint these walls to make it look like we are distancing. I'm behind a nice red bookshelf and a cream textured wall.
I'm in front of like an old bookshelf with a bunch of my wife and I's book collection hanging around on it.
Wow, we get it. You read. That's cool, dude.
So we've got things like the New York City Ballet book right next to the baseball book. And by the way, that's the name of both of those books. I'm not just saying that like that's what those books are about. That is the name of those 2 books that are right next to each other on the shelf as I turned around.
I would like to share some of my books that I have.
Oh, yeah?
LSD, My Problem Child.
Okay.
And the Quran.
What? Is that in the original translation?
Yes, it's I have not been able to read it because I don't know how to speak the language, but I thought it would look cultured that I have another religion's text in my bookshelf.
Wow, congratulations, man.
Thanks, man.
So today we're going to be talking, another first for us is we're going to be talking about a game show that nobody's ever heard of before. That's the other twist on this episode. And that game show is called Hellevator. This would have been a perfect spooky like Halloween episode.
Yeah.
But
they tried to make another one, but post-Christmas Evader didn't roll off the tongue. It didn't get picked up.
Yeah, I mean, those pilots are always a crapshoot. But this one, Hellevator, did exist for real. And we are going to talk all about it, as much about it as we can today. I'll say that. First off, I think you emailed me over a sponsor. Is that right?
That's correct. We did lock down another sponsor. Again, a new one, but
again, surprising.
But at least we're getting these sponsors rolling in,
And so we'll jump into this part right now. If you're listening and you'd like to skip forward, we're at about the 4.5 minute mark right now in the podcast. And I assume this will be done by about 7:30 in your timeline. So you can just go ahead and I'll make sure to make a note of that. All right, I've pulled it up. I'm going to go ahead and then start with my first line here. Hey, Montney, what's the worst feeling ever?
When my poops drop with too much force and all the water splashes up to my butt.
Same. What if I told you that today's sponsor has a quick and easy fix?
Sign me up.
The poop chute is the answer to your problem.
How does it work?
After filling out their online application, you'll receive a package in the mail that contains your kit with the insertion liquid and poop chute.
Then what?
Great question. Right before you do the do, and I don't believe that's talking about drinking an ice-cold Mountain Dew beverage.
No.
Right before you do the do, just squirt a little... Jesus Christ. Just squirt a little of the insertion liquid into your butt. Then insert the poop chute directly into your beehole.
Wait, how does that help keep my butt nice and dry?
The poop chute is a 6-inch long hollow tube that has a slight curve at the end. Looks like a large elbow macaroni. The poop is caught at the bottom where the curve is and then easily slides out into the water, keeping your tushy nice and dry.
Wow, so easy.
What are you doing? And each chute lasts for 3 poops. Just place the chute in your dishwasher and you're good to go, fo to mo. Good to go, fo to mo.
Awesome.
Our listeners get 15% off their first poop chute kit when they use the code "Come on down" slowly and slide into the water nice and gentle like. That's the whole code. Come on down slowly and slide into the water nice and gentle like during checkout. Poop chute. A dry butt is a happy butt.
Wow, so thank you to Poop Chute.
God, the good news is that if there are any other, more legitimate companies that would like to sponsor us, they could listen back to the last 2.5 minutes and decide, oh, no.
I think that they would say
that would
is
have been a big mistake.
A very creative writer wrote this, and they are just filling time until they can get, more family-friendly sponsorships.
So then they might reach out to the very real Poop Chute people who wrote that.
And express their concern, correct.
Okay. Very, very creative, I would say. Anyway, we're at the 7:30 mark, so we're done with that. You can unplug your ears, which I could retroactively go back and recommend that everybody skip forward past that instead of putting yourself through that.
And I would say make sure you check it out and enter in the code. What was the code again?
Honestly, I've already deleted the file from my computer just so there was no evidence in case the police come around.
Okay.
But it had something to do with Come On Down.
Sure.
Yeah, so thanks to Poop Chute. Anyway, today we're going to be talking about a show that might as well have come out of the Poop Chute, if you know what I'm saying.
Nice.
Because it's really good and delicious. And this show was called Hellevator. How did you hear about this show? Because you told me about this show.
So I went online to the internet.
Yeah, right.
And I typed in weirdest game shows. And this is one that popped up. And I like Blumhouse stuff. I believe Blumhouse produced it.
Yeah.
They always have really good scary movies. So I was like, I'm interested and I'll check it out. And that's how I found it.
Yeah, this was interesting because this is the first and probably only TV game show produced by Blumhouse. Blumhouse Productions, founded by Jason Blum, most known for low-budget horror movies or lower-budget horror movies.
Yeah.
Over the last 10, 15 years or so. But in the year of our Lord, and of course by our Lord I mean Satan, 2015, the Game Show Network, or what it has been rebranded as GSN, because it's more than just game shows, it's Hellevator, debuted in October of 2015. This program. So the show is hosted by these two lovely women.
Yep.
They're referred to as the Twisted Twins, I believe.
Not the Twisted Sisters.
No, that was a copyright situation just waiting to happen.
Yeah.
So it's the Twisted Twins, and their real life human names are Jen and Sylvia Soska. Soska?
So they are
Soska?
like Russian?
They're some sort of European, but actually they're Canadian.
Okay.
They've got like an Eastern European heritage, but they're Canadian.
Okay.
And so they wanted to be actresses, I guess. They
Don't we all?
auditioned for some stuff. I think they were dissatisfied with their typecasting as typical twins or something like that.
Yeah.
But when you're going out to auditions as twins, I think it's weird that you'd be surprised to be typecast as the twins on the show. And so they decided they want to go to film school. They went to film school in Canada, which is, I don't know, Canadian film school is like film school junior, I guess. So they went there, and they, for their final student project, decided to make a horror film that they called Dead Hooker in a Trunk. Dead Hooker in a Trunk. I'll say that again just for clarity's sake. Was the name
and what was the tagline for that movie?
Was there a tagline?
I assume it was there. Yeah, you read that correctly, comma, yes, there's a dead hooker in the trunk.
Yeah. It's kind of an uplifting story about a young boy with cancer whose dog dies, and a local
Hooker
who is killed and dead in a trunk is reanimated and comes back to befriend him and tell him, no judgment for having cancer. I know most people judge you and think you're a real piece of shit because of your cancer, but I don't, and I'm a dead hooker. So that was kind of the through line of that film. But they made it. They kind of showed it around at festivals and things like that. Obviously, it was very low budget, a few $1,000s. And they got on the, low budget horror scene, kind of grindhouse type of cinema. They got some level of notoriety from this film. It got rejected from a lot of film festivals because it was titled Dead Hooker in a Trunk. So that was one of the stumbling blocks it faced, but I
respect it. You know exactly what you're getting into when you go to see that movie with your kids, and it's going to be easier to get them emotionally prepared for what they're going to watch. You watch, I don't know, I don't know, like Hellraiser's another good one. You know exactly what you're getting into there. Ernest
John
Goes
dies
to
at
Camp.
the end. That's a film.
Yeah. Yep.
John dies at the end of that one. Spoiler alert.
Right. So I have a level of respect for their brashness with the title.
They also would go on to write, direct, and produce and appear in a film called American Mary. That was a bit bigger, a bit of a broader audience for that one. They also directed a movie called See No Evil 2. The follow-up, of course, to See No Evil 1.
Uh-huh. Oh, and it was called See No Evil 1?
Yeah, when it came out, it was called See No Evil 1.
Okay, so they were...
I think that's a pretty bold move.
They clearly know there were going to be more made. They were very, very confident.
Yeah. And yeah, they consider themselves kind of Hitchcockian. They put themselves in all of their films in some sort of role. Usually as twins, which is kind of ironic considering they were upset about that originally.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
And yeah, that's who the Twisted Twins are, Jen and Sylvia Soska. And they are our hosts, our master of ceremonies, our torture cell prison guards, basically, of this show, Hellevator.
If you've ever seen the movies. What are the movies called where the people wake up in a room and there's a guy making them pay for their sins?
What? Heaven? Hell?
No, and they're very gory movies. It's always like really elaborate things that these people are placed in. Like there's a head cage and you have to find the key. It's buried under a whole bunch of needles in a room.
Like, I don't know. It sounds like that movie with that puppet guy.
Yes,
who
yes,
tells you
yes.
what to do. Oh, is that
What's
who
the
you
name?
sure what you're talking about?
Yeah,
Saw.
what's the name? Yeah, Saw. Okay,
Okay.
That's the style of this show. Somebody far away in a room with cameras watching them, dictating their next move. That is what this show is set up is.
Yeah, that's pretty accurate. It is the best way I would describe this. I think Saw is probably a pretty good representation. I would describe it as a haunted house meets an escape room.
Yeah. Yep.
Meets a game show. That's pretty much what this show is.
Mm-hmm.
So, obviously, the titular Hellevator is quite involved. It's a portmanteau of hell and elevator, if you haven't gotten there yet. And I'm pretty sure that's where this game show started, is somebody said Hellevator, and then they said, what is that? What could that be? And they eventually said game show. And then they figured it out from there. I think this is probably the game show that we've done with the fewest episodes ever. Because there were 2 seasons of this show, the first with 8 episodes and the second with 4 episodes.
Uh-huh.
So not a super long-running show like a To Tell the Truth or a Wheel of Fortune or something like that.
Yeah.
Just 12, but I mean, they always say quality over quantity. And what they went for here was neither.
Well,
So-
see, I just want the audience to know that I'm coming in with a different perspective. I thought, although there were flaws present, this was a very entertaining show.
Well, I'm glad that we can have this sort of important adult discussion about this, I guess. So the way the show worked, it differed a good bit between season 1 and 2, although the core premise was the same. The contestants, which is a group of people that is normally like chefs, that's an episode that we were both able to watch in its entirety because this show is difficult to find anywhere.
Yes.
So it's a group of chefs. There's a group of cheerleaders, a group of band members, whatever it is. This group of people is together, and they are placed in the Hellevator after a walk through a little bit of, a haunted house type of area where they'd have actors jumping out at you and scary sounds and flashing lights and things like that.
Right.
So they enter the Hellevator. The Hellevator closes behind them. It has a TV screen in there, which introduces them to the Twisted Twins, who tell them a bit about today's game. And there's always a different theme based on a kind of story or legend. This is about, a butcher who goes crazy and starts cutting up his family members and putting them in his sausages. And that is an example of one episode theme. And I'm using that one because, again, that's the one episode that we were both able to find and watch in its entirety.
Uh-huh.
But there were also other similar stories like that, like almost like a Sweeney Todd type of thing, or an escaped insane asylum person is out on the loose. And so the theme of each episode and all of the games in each episode tied together. So in season 1, there were 3 contestants all in the elevator together, and each one of them had to do one game or challenge or whatever it was, and it would be something along the lines of, okay, you are in the evil barber's barbershop, haunted barbershop thing, and you now have 3 minutes to find a straight razor and shaving cream and blah 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 and blah 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 and blah 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 and return it all to here and get back in the Hellevator before time expires. And it would be a creepy escape room type thing where there are people jumping out at you as you're searching it, scary noises being made, things falling from the ceiling, blood raining on you, etc., to distract you and scare you and slow you down before you could make it back to the Hellevator if you were able to complete your objective and make it back and get X amount of dollars based on whatever accomplishing that goal is worth.
Yeah.
The difference in season 2, and this is a really strange difference that I didn't understand, is that instead of 3 contestants, there were 4. But right after the whole plot and setup and spooky story is introduced, one of those 4 people is taken away and kept in basically a jail cell, which was called
The Inferno.
The Inferno. And the other 3 people's job is to do these things to save that person, meaning the one person who gets taken away and put in the jail cell at the beginning literally does nothing for the entire game show. Not at any point, not if they rescue them at the end, that person has to do anything. No, that person is completely out of play and does nothing. They're a game show contestant who just stands in a jail cell the entire time, which was weird.
The one that we watched, it was the only black girl in the entire group.
That is true. What do you think that means?
I just think it's unfair stereotypes. I think it's unfair to her as someone who was asked to come onto a game show and then stand in a room, a hot room, by the way. The Inferno
there was some fire around
room. It. So that made no sense to me.
Right. And so in season 1, if you went to do your task and failed, did not complete it in the allotted time and make it back to the Hellevator, you were killed. I believe that is just a game show term, a TV movie magic type of thing. I don't think they were actually killed, but they were eliminated from the game show and never seen again.
Oh, so they essentially disappeared.
Yes.
Wait, they were never seen again by the people who worked on the show, or just by their friends and family, or both?
Honestly, I can't say for sure. Definitely the people on the show. But potentially anybody else. I haven't checked the missing person magazine that comes in the mail every once in a while.
You get the magazine. You get the magazine version?
Yeah, I mean, it's got, some fun crosswords and stuff like that about missing people that you can do also. So it's a fun time for the whole family. And
do they have coupons for any cool swag that they or any merch that they have where it's like, actual missing people's faces that you get to wear on a shirt, but it says like, remember, got milk. It says got milk on the front, and then
yep,
the picture
and then it has their information, and it actually uses one of those like age progressed photos.
Yeah,
where they just guess what a 6-year-old who's been missing for 20 years might look like at 26.
Yeah, and they always use I feel like they always use the variable of a normal life. What would this person look like after a normal life? Not like constant
as a prisoner,
psychological, psychological distress and potential physical harm.
They've got a mohawk now for sure.
Absolutely,
they look like the Twisted Twins, who they kind of looked like. And again, I'd like to reinforce that this was 2015. They kind of looked like what a girl in the mid to late 90s who wanted to be edgy and gothy would look like the black sheer long sleeve shirt thing with a black lacy camisole underneath and a choker, like a tight black choker around their neck, and white
and red hair.
Yep, red hair for sure. So that's pretty much what they look like. You can probably take my description and then Google them later and say, yep, that's what I was picturing. Like, I'm pretty confident in the description that we just provided right there. Right? Don't you think?
Oh,
Don't you think they
absolutely.
look like exactly what you would think they would look like?
Yes, correct. With a slight Eastern shift in their faces, that's exactly what they look like.
And Canadian.
And
They
also
apologize a
Canadian.
lot for the way they look.
Right. The top half of their head is not connected to the bottom half of their head.
So it's a Terrence and Phillip thing.
Right.
Yeah, so in season 1, those people are eliminated. In season 2, if you fail, you are sent to the Inferno with the black girl.
Yeah.
Or whomever in
Right.
which episode is sent to the Inferno.
Mm-hmm.
And the goal of the remaining people is to get the people out of the Inferno for the Inferno run, which comes up at the end. And in this season 1, it was to escape the labyrinth, which is what their ending thing was called. So more or less, they're basically the same in season 1. Whoever survived made it to the end, whether it was 1, 2, or 3 people, did the labyrinth, which was 3 rooms that you kind of had to solve in an allotted time limit to escape and make it back to the Hellevator. In season 2, when it was the Inferno, there were 7 rooms, each one themed to one of the 7 deadly sins. And
Gluttony, wrath, greed, porn, watching.
no, sloth is one of them.
Panda, bear.
Envy
is the second.
Nope, envy is one of them.
And Jamaican.
Yes, that's it. That's the 7. Panda bear and Jamaican were the other 2 that we were missing. So each of the rooms in the Inferno run was themed to one of the 7 deadly sins. You had 7 minutes to get through all of them. The catch was some of the rooms, for completing them, you got money. And one of the rooms, for completing it, you got a key to the Inferno cell to free your teammates that are locked up in the cell.
Your teammates that suck because they couldn't complete their task.
Correct.
essentially.
Who are just super thankful to have you as a friend or fellow cheerleader or whatever you are. So the catch was, in season 2, if you found the key, you could continue moving on to the next room, and not, if you felt like you had enough time left and could earn more money before letting your teammates out of the cell, you could continue on. If you went and unlocked the cell with the key, you all just had to book it straight for the Hellevator to escape at that point.
Yeah.
So that was the little choice you had to earn more money. You could earn up to like $50,000 on the show. I think season 2, they brought it down to $40,000. But I mean, a decent amount for 3 or 4 people for basically doing a escape room puzzle.
Yeah.
And that's basically the show. I thought I guess to some extent, they probably told the contestants to play up the fear a bit, is my guess.
Yeah.
Because they were really strongly reacting to these spooky ghost people that are jumping out to try and scare them and corner them in rooms and things like that.
Well,
and I mean,
some people are just super jumpy like that. You know, I would say I've been through a couple haunted houses where, you know, one of the people in the group cannot take jump scares at all. And so they're just freaking out the entire time.
Yeah, that's definitely true. It just felt like everybody was like that.
Okay.
And I mean, it felt like from the editing of the show felt a little suspicious at times. And, you know, because they've got this Hellevator. Each of the challenges is on a different floor. So they're on the Hellevator going to this floor, going to that floor, whatever. I mean, my guess, just as a, you know, crazy observer here, is they didn't actually have 5 floors worth of set dressing and things like that. Is they put them in this sealed room so that they could kind of move around the walls on the outside of the room and then let them go back out afterwards.
Yeah.
So, like, I think they could have all of the different rooms set up, but then just rearrange the way the hallways were set up to direct them into different places each time the Hellevator doors opened and onto a quote-unquote different floor. So I don't believe that there was even a fiery prison cell at all. It all seemed like fake Hollywood magic to me, is what I'm saying. But yeah, I think that's a pretty decent summation of the game as a whole. And
Well, let's jump into. Sorry, I'll let you finish. Go ahead.
No,
This
you
is
go. You
hard
go
to
ahead.
do
I want to know. I
without
want to know what
seeing
we
you
should jump
visually.
into. Yeah,
I want to jump into likes and dislikes.
likes and dislikes. That's okay. I like.
I
that
want
it
you to
was-
talk about what you like about it.
Yeah, I like that it's something different. You know, this was definitely not your typical game show. It was. They were able to take something that was, you know, a somewhat stimulating physical challenge, and turn it into a game show format. I like the idea of escape rooms. I enjoy doing escape room type things, problem solving. So I like seeing people try and problem solve. I've seen, you know, other similar type of shows in the past and have enjoyed them. What I didn't like, I didn't like the Twisted Twins, man. I felt
Well,
like
what's their backstory? Do we ever get? Do we know why they're doing this to people? Do we know?
they're twisted. Come on, what? And they're twins. What more do you need to know? I don't think so. I think so. My problem is they're very, and I guess this is kind of the character that they are as people. Is it's, you know, they're not disturbed by this stuff. They kind of relish in it. They're kind of calmed by it. They're very mellow about everything that's going on. And so for the host of the show, and I understand that that is their character as weird, sinister type of people. But for the hosts of the show, it's hard to keep, you know, the energy going and moving things along when it's like, oh, I bet they like these snakes that we've hidden here, don't you think?
No,
this
no.
one's
You
really
gotta do.
slithery.
Yeah, well, better than that. They would always have really, really low-hanging fruit wordplay, essentially, or puns that they would say.
Give a good example.
Yeah. So let's use the snake example. So they would drop a snake in a room, and the person hated snakes in the Inferno room, and it would cut to the Twisted Sisters, and the Twisted Sisters would say something along the lines of, I bet she would want to slither away right now. I hope she doesn't get hysterical.
That was an actual one from the show. Yeah, I do remember that.
Nice.
Yeah, so that was the kind of hosting work that they would. It was almost it. And again, I get it because that's the whole character that they play. They kind of consider themselves a spiritual successor to like an Elvira, Mistress of the Damned, or whatever, or Vampira, who was kind of. It's fun. I just watched the movie Ed Wood last night. I don't know if you've ever seen that. Pretty solid.
not.
Tim Burton, Johnny Depp film from the early 90s, back before they were all the same and boring. Tim Burton, Johnny Depp films, I mean. But it was based on a true story, and the character, there was a character who was portraying Vampira, who kind of hosted these like monster movie night type of things. You know, like how we have now, the best thing we have comparatively is like that TBS dinner and a movie or whatever it was, where there's somebody like between the commercial breaks will talk about like, blah, blah,
yeah.
blah. So it's kind of like that, but it's like each one is like introduced by Vampira, who's like, tonight we're going to tell you the spooky tale of a man who turns into a werewolf, blah, 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 blah. And then they go into the movie, and then, you know, the commercial breaks, they have this little, you know, intermissions where Vampira or whatever, like Vincent Price did this for a long time for these type of B horror films on TV.
That reminds me of like Tales from the Crypt.
Yes, exactly. Tales from the Crypt. So that they kind of consider themselves to be in the spiritual vein of that type of character. The Crypt Keeper or the Elvira, the Vampira. So I get it. Like I said, I get it. I just feel like there needs to be somebody that is more the voice of the audience. Like, oh God, slow, no, what the snakes are after him, or something along those lines that keeps the energy up
Yeah.
for the casual viewer. I'm sure for the person who would normally be a fan of the Soska sisters, this is great and perfect. But the amount of people that is, I think, isn't very high for a typical
I think
GSN program.
I think outside of the Solska sisters, it's nobody.
What?
I think
You don't think all the acclaim for
fans
Dead
of the
Hooker in a
Solska
Trunk?
sisters. Oh man, I gotta find a way to watch that film.
What do you think Ebert said about it?
He probably gave it 2 dildos up.
Wow. Okay.
Because that's how he would rate stuff, right? He would have big old dildos that he would.
I think that's right.
Kind of flop around in the air if he liked it, or he would kind of droop them like a sad penis if he didn't like the film.
Yeah. But so as we mentioned, this was produced by Blumhouse, founded by Jason Blum, who I think kind of discovered them through their early work, the Soska sisters.
And it probably wasn't him Googling pictures of Dead Hooker in Trunk and then accidentally came up onto their website.
It was somebody uploaded the entirety of Dead Hooker in the Trunk to Pornhub, and he was not expecting it to be a feature film. Let's put it that way.
Right. And he liked it a lot.
Yeah.
And he was used to seeing porn, searching for porn. So when he went to the premiere, when they did a couple of their premieres, he was fully erect throughout the entire thing in the audience.
Wow, that's interesting. That's a little known. That's a little known fact.
Yeah, it's this thing that happens to your brain. I did 4 psychology classes in college, so
didn't you major in psychology?
No, I said I did 4 psychology classes. Majoring in psychology is like Michael Scott declaring bankruptcy. You just proclaim that this is what you want to study, but actually doing the work.
So what does your college diploma say on it?
A bachelor's of science in psychology.
Okay, I just wanted to be clear there.
I did more than 4 classes, but yes.
Yeah, that is an interesting psychological phenomena that I was unfamiliar with.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Jason Blum, Blumhouse, so diverging from Blumhouse a little bit, but staying in the genre, is Hellevator reminded me a little bit, and I don't know that I've ever seen this movie. I think I've seen pieces of it on TV before, but it's from about 10 years ago, this M. Night Shyamalan movie called Devil, that I think it took place mostly in an elevator of a building. At least that's what I remember it most for, is an elevator.
Yeah, it definitely took place in an elevator.
You know the movie I'm talking about?
This is cool. Well, no, I had to look it up. I don't think I've seen this movie, but the poster is a dark, ominous, like silver elevator doors. And there's a little bit of red light shining through. They're cracked just a little bit, and the red light that's shining through makes an upside down cross.
Whoa! That is basically a Hellevator. Like that's almost that seems like what a Hellevator should be. So yeah, I guess I'm right in associating the two in some way in my brain. But so what do you think? This was obviously a Jason Blum, a Blumhouse production. What do you think an M. Night Shyamalan game show would be like?
Ooh, everything would be the same, except the killer in the story, the running narrative, would be one of the people performing the game show.
So one of the contestants is actually the mad butcher who butchers his family.
Right, and he has been slowly trying to derail their efforts throughout the entire show.
Ooh, okay. And then however much money you win, you actually owe that money at the end. That's the twist also. You owe us $40,000 now.
Yeah, gotcha. Thanks for coming on to our game show.
Shyamalan again, damn it. Yeah, but Blumhouse, they did Paranormal Activity. You remember
Oh
that?
wow, okay,
So
absolutely.
so that
That
was
franchise has got to be worth $1 billion at this point.
so I know that Paranormal Activity 1 on a return of an on investment level is the number one movie in history. It was made for $15,000.
Wow.
It made $193 million. So this is like buying into GameStop at the right time, basically.
Oh my gosh. I feel like the movie before that held this was Blair Witch. It had to be, right?
Probably because yeah, Blair Witch Project was like about 10 years earlier, and it was the same very low budget, very successful movie sort of thing.
Yeah.
Um,
It kind of broke that whole genre open. That subgenre of horror movies
right.
where it was like an amateur team filming stuff.
Yeah, there is a lot of this genre of horror that like I said, that micro budget type of thing that Paranormal Activity was, which was kind of put Bloomhouse big on the map, and what the Soska sisters do. There is a world for that. There is a some sort of cultural phenomenon there with it. It reminds me of Gabe on The Office. Was the type of person that would really appreciate this really weird, really like a horror movie for us is like Halloween or Friday the 13th or something. But
Yeah.
for these people, it's like the horror is this person has to slowly chew off their arm with their own teeth to escape the shackles in this prison.
Yeah.
And that takes place over 85 minutes or something.
Yeah.
And those fans who are probably generally weird people really enjoy that sort of thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's gore porn essentially.
Yeah, torture porn, gore porn, that sort of things that you can do with a super low budget because then you can kind of film it all in one room
Yeah.
with a couple camera setups and that's basically it. That kind it's almost like that kind of grindhouse type of cinema, but from a very base horror, creepy, spooky perspective. And I don't know much about
Yeah.
this genre at all, so I'm not any sort of expert to speak on it. But it's out there, and Gabe from The Office liked it. I remember there was an episode where he was dating Ellie Kemper's character, and she always wanted to watch Wall-E, and he always wanted to watch these really weird films. So he came to a compromise that they could watch this movie about some trash-eating murder robot or something like that, so that it's got something for both of them.
Yeah.
But Blumhouse has also done the Purge series of films, Happy Death Day, those two movies. The first one was better than the second, I thought. But they've also produced things such as Get Out, which is an Academy Award nominated film,
Yeah.
and also Whiplash, which was a phenomenal film,
Yeah.
and Black Klansman. So they, kind of have branched out of the specifically low budget horror thing. Still generally lower budget films. They're not doing any Marvel movies or anything like that.
Yeah.
And I think they were involved in the recent Invisible Man with Peggy from Mad Men, Elizabeth
Yeah.
Moss, which that's a mid budget film. So they're stretching their legs a little bit, but they do some good stuff. What did you?
I mean, they did M. Night Shyamalan's The Visit, and speaking as someone who enjoys horror movies but has not been able to get into them because I didn't like the shift the genre did when it went into the torture porn, and I feel like it had been
The Saw
in that,
type of stuff.
yeah, I feel like that it had been in that most movies that came out had been in or around that style. I didn't like it. And also M. Night Shyamalan, I felt kind of fell off the cliff.
Right.
I didn't really keep up with his movies very much. They might have been good, but he fell off my radar. And then Jonda and I watched The Visit, and I thought it was really good, insanely creepy, and had me. The twist at the end was I thought very good as well.
Is that a recent one?
Recent-ish, yeah. I think that one was
2015, it turns out.
so not super recent, but it's one of his more M. Night Shyamalan's recent movies.
Oh, is this where
him.
the weird looking people are outside of their house or something like that?
No, this is when the kids go to visit their grandparents, and the grandparents are acting very strangely throughout their entire visit.
Huh. I'm not familiar with it.
You might have remembered there's in the actual trailer, it showed the grandma asking the little girl to climb into the oven to clean it. And then it shows her like slamming the door shut on the oven.
That sounds terrifying.
Yeah. It was crazy. And she cleaned it real good though.
Okay, that was what I was going to ask, because
Yeah.
what's the point if you're not going to get a good oven clean out of it? It
Right.
has
It's
a
like if you're
68% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah, I'm telling you, it was a good movie.
Ooh, it has Catherine
It was a
Hahn in
classic. It was a classic, not for a lot of the movie, but yes, she is in it.
Okay.
Most of the movie is the kid, like 95% of the movie is the two kids and the grandparents.
Okay. But yeah, I didn't know that Blumhouse did that as well. I mean, they seem to do everything at the moment. Their name is everywhere.
Well, you got to diversify, That's smart. You can't just have all your money in GameStop. You got to have it in GameStop and AMC and Nokia,
Right.
these companies that are very successful and not on their dying
Right.
last breath.
Exactly. But yeah, I liked, Happy Death Day. I thought that was a good, fun, low budget horror. I've got a problem in that I enjoy something like that. I've got a wife who does not like being scared.
Yeah.
So
Classic woman.
kind of ironically, one of our first, times that we hung out was at a haunted corn maze.
It was just you two there?
No, there was a few other people.
Oh, okay.
And it was a haunted corn maze.
Mm-hmm.
And that's
got that part.
Yeah, right. And it was okay.
So the corn was haunted. The corn was each corn kernel.
No, the corn was delicious.
A haunted corn.
It was great.
Oh, okay.
It was just a maze in a field, and then there would be little kids that were probably the farmers' children dressed up as mummies, jumping out at you and things like that. It wasn't
I feel like the Mummies is not on genre for haunted corn maze. I kind of feel like you're putting in too many different themes there.
So what should it be? People dressed up as haunted fruits and vegetables?
First of all,
A spooky gourd?
that would be scary. That would be scary as hell. But also, how about children of the corn?
Ooh, okay, I get it. I see how that ties in together.
So each child is dressed as a giant steaming corn kernel that's about to pop.
Uh-huh.
And so you have to run away because you don't want to get a tiny kernel explosion on you.
That makes sense. I hadn't thought of it that way before, but that's smart.
Yeah.
Yeah, but since then, she's not been to any sort of haunted house or haunted anything with me. She refuses.
The things that we do to, impress people or make them like us
Right.
initially.
Right. And, it's like that was her version of me not pooping or farting around her for 2 years.
Okay.
It's like
2 full years?
basically, yeah.
Damn,
I
dude.
mean, like you find ways to avoid, pooping at their place, for sure.
So
right?
when I was first staying over at Jonda's place, I had to poop really, really bad in the morning. And that next morning I was like, I can't, because her bathroom was right next to her bed. So I can't I felt embarrassed going in and turning the fan on because then I'm like, she knows exactly what's going on.
Right.
My poops aren't super quick. I don't want to be in there for a long time
Right,
while
she'll
she's
know.
laying in bed being like, right.
It's an experience.
So I left and I went to the closest 7-Eleven, driving as fast as I possibly could.
Disgusting.
Because, right. Luckily, there were no squirrels that ran out in front of my car.
Right.
Because it would have been, I mean, if I had a poop chute, it would have looked like a busted water pipe, not
Wow.
a nice sliding
Gross.
out dump. So, but I made it there in time and had a great poop, and then I came right back with coffee for me and a nice beverage for her.
Smart. So you made it look like you were just running out to do a nice, cute little breakfast.
Right, for 35 minutes.
Well, there's a long line. A lot of people.
There's a long line on this Sunday at 8:30 a.m. There was a whole bunch of people.
There were a lot of guys that just fucked and were looking to impress with a glass of coffee from 7-Eleven.
Right.
Yeah, as there always is. I also remember the first time I went to meet Erica's parents.
Mm-hmm.
So they lived 45 minutes, an hour away, and I'm driving over there, and it starts growing inside of me.
What does your love for Erica?
Yeah, later that happened, but at this point in time, a poop. And
okay.
And so I remember having to pull off and stop. Like I was like, "Oh, hey, I'm like 15 minutes away." And then I realized like, "Oh no, I have to poop." And I don't want to be like, "Hi, it's nice to meet you. Where's your bathroom?" And then disappear for 15 minutes.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I find a McDonald's and stop and go into this McDonald's. And then, the 15 minutes away turned into 30 minutes. And she's like, "Where are you?" I was like, "Oh God, fucking traffic. There's a big wreck." Some idiot. It was an Asian woman, actually. She, caused a big wreck. You saw the person who caused the wreck? I just, yeah. Uh-huh. It was crazy.
She had pooped her pants and was waving them around above her head in the middle of the road, and it caused a whole bunch of cars to crash. And that's, as you can see, why I have also pooped my pants.
Mm-hmm.
I had to swerve out of the way and just didn't have time. But I also saved a child doing it, so I'm sort of a hero. And where's your bathroom? Nice to meet you.
Yeah, it got really elaborate.
Okay, before we move on, I have a question for you.
Yes.
Because when you're in situations like that, something is coming. It's not
Poop situations?
going to happen, right then and there. But
Right.
do you ever tell yourself that you can't just unload the second you walk in the bathroom because there might be somebody in the restroom? You need to be emotionally prepared to hold this for an even longer amount of time? Or do you just there better be nobody here because it's going to happen?
I think the latter. I think more of the latter for sure.
That's risky, dude.
I mean, yeah, I understand. Oh, I know. I think a weird noise is about to happen on the computer. This could be bad.
I'm excited now.
I don't know. I'm just looking at the timeline over there. But yeah, no, I get very scared of. Oh, there it was. It was the lightning round sound effect. It was left in the timeline from the last episode that we recorded.
We do not have a lightning.
We don't have any sort of lightning round, which would be spooky and fitting potentially.
Yeah.
By the way, quick question: how did I start talking about not wanting to poop in front of your girlfriend? You're usually good.
Why did we talk about that? Because we were talking about corn maze.
Okay.
You took Erica to corn maze.
The things you do to impress early in a relationship. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So and she won't watch horror films with me. So any of the horror films, I have to go to the movie theater by myself. And
which, I mean, honestly, not too bad, but yeah.
I like going to the movie. Back when movie theaters existed, I liked going by myself. Get some lunch and a show.
Yeah.
But Blumhouse, they've made some good movies. They've made some bad movies. They've made a game show. What did you like about this show?
Oh my gosh! First of all, one of the challenges.
I'm sorry, am I
Excuse me,
boring you? Am I boring you right now?
No, you're not. One of the challenges. It's nice and warm in this room, and I'm just watching.
You got a fireplace
nice
going.
Flurries go by the window.
The flurry just stopped outside of my window. It appears.
Oh, we still have quite a bit over here. I liked that one of the challenges was that a person had to find severed limbs in a kitchen and put them back onto a cadaver
Right.
to complete this challenge.
Same thing a cop would do.
Yep.
With some hot glue.
Right. Some Gorilla Glue, as we have seen virally, is very successful at attaching.
Ooh, yeah, Gorilla Glue. Make sure we
to
get some
body
Gorilla
parts.
Glue mentions in here so we can juice that algorithm. People are searching all
Right.
sorts of Gorilla Glue stuff right now.
Yes.
So listen,
Also-
I've styled my pubes with Gorilla Glue many a time. Because I like it because it's permanent. I don't have to do it again for a while.
Right. And I do need to, because I know that our sponsor would be upset if I had not announced this, but do not use any sort of Gorilla Glue to attach the poop chute.
Oh wow.
That
would
will
be
not be successful.
That would be upsetting for many reasons.
A second thing I liked, I loved the running storyline through the
How
entire challenge.
How each of the
challenge.
things tied together.
Yes. I liked it. That was very much the escape room aspect
Right.
of it. And those are my 2 likes. I have quite a few dislikes.
Oh, what did you dislike?
But I didn't like the Twisted Sisters. I didn't understand.
That was what I said.
Their backstory
They're the Twisted
was.
Twins. Can you please, for
Whatever.
copyright purposes, because we did get a
Twisted-
copyright strike because of some nonsense songs you played on our Name That Tune episode.
Twisted.
And you know what?
Non-sisters.
In terms of the legal department of Twisted Sister, they're not gonna take it. No, they ain't gonna take it.
Right.
They're not gonna take
And
it
what's
anymore.
uh-huh.
Okay?
Well, right. I got it. I understand now. I didn't like the walkie-talkie aspect.
Oh yeah, we didn't mention this, and by that I mean me didn't mention this. They're given, when the person is going out to complete their task, they're given a walkie-talkie, and the people in the elevator also have walkie-talkies, and they're watching them on the TV screen that is in there. And all they basically do is like, stay calm, find the thing. Are you looking? Look
Yeah.
around. Look. Hey, look. Did you open the drawers? Look around. Look for the thing.
Yeah, it would infuriate me if I am rushing through for $5,000 and you're on the other line saying, "Hey, relax, just be calm. You're okay. You're okay. Just be calm. You're okay." I probably would turn the walkie-talkie off. So I didn't like that. I didn't see the point of it.
But that's the same thing, like you've got a wife, I've got a wife, we've got relationships. It's the same thing when you sometimes another person is upset and you recognize that they're upset, but you don't really get why they're upset, And so you're like, hey, it's okay. Don't worry about it. It's okay. Blah, blah, blah. But you don't really know what you're saying. You're just trying to calm them down.
Yeah.
It's the same sort of thing on the walkie-talkie end. Hey, man, it's cool.
Right.
Listen, but seriously, you better fucking find this or you're going to cost us $7,000 right now.
Yeah. No pressure, but there's quite a bit of money on the line. You idiot. Look in the damn drawers, I keep telling you.
Quit acting all scared, you little bitch. I'm in a thing called a Hellevator right now, okay?
Yeah. And then I thought we already talked about this, but I'll mention it. Keeping the one contestant locked away for the entire show.
For no reason whatsoever.
Yes.
For that person who thinks they're going to compete on a game show is just told to go stand in the corner for an hour.
A hot corner, mind you.
A hot corner. And I'm not talking about third base. The baseball book right here behind me on the shelf. Third base, a.k.a. the hot corner. Yeah, that would be pretty infuriating if I thought I was going to be on a game show and they're like, yeah, your job for the 42 minutes, excluding the commercials here, is you're going to just stand over there and other people are going to do stuff and there's going to be walkie-talkies and they're going to be watching on a screen. It's like, okay, well, do I get a walkie-talkie and I get to watch on screen? No, not you. Only the people in the Hellevator get that. You're out of the Hellevator. You're in jail here. You do not pass go. This is a Monopoly type of situation.
Yeah.
And so you're at the mercy of these
hot
people.
Yoga jail.
It's like, what if they just took the person who would, who is probably going to be the best at solving puzzles, and they're like, actually, you don't get to solve puzzles. You're out.
Yeah. Okay, I got 5% battery life left, so we gotta wrap this up.
Okay. That's how long
you want to do.
How long is your podcast? I don't know, until the battery runs out.
We're right at an hour. Okay, this is good.
This is
timing.
professional as fuck.
Yeah, let's do our make it betters.
Here's how I would make it better. Like I said, I think I need a host that is more dynamic, that is more, and like, you could still have these Twisted Twins introduce it. You could still have them be maybe the storytellers or something, but I feel like there needs to be more energy somewhere.
Yeah, I get it. It's a weird dichotomy of a whole bunch of screaming, scared people, and then back to the room where these girls use monotone puns to, I don't know, make fun of the contestants as they fail.
Yeah, and I also felt like, just in general, the editing, I kind of hit on this a little bit earlier. It feels like there's some editing trickery going on in terms of like the time limits left and what they have to do in the allotted time and where these sets are all set up. It just, I don't know, the way that they did the editing made it feel a little less frantic and suspenseful. And I get they were trying to do it so it felt more like these found footage horror movie type of things that, Blumhouse or whatever is famous for. But it took a little bit away from the pace and the franticness of what a game show might be.
Yeah, I definitely agree.
What do you have any make it betters?
Yeah, I do. I have two. One of them was make each challenge include all or most of the contestants. There was one challenge, and I'm going to go back on the walkie-talkie, but just for this one instance.
Okay.
The person inside the Hellevator had a list of ingredients that they had to read to the other person in the room who was frantically looking for them. I thought that was a good use of all of the contestants for one challenge. And the walkie-talkies. I was like, okay, I get the walkie-talkies for this part. So I think you should use everybody in the challenge at one point. Don't just keep people away in an inferno or just waiting in the Hellevator. I felt like that was a stronger, fun challenge to watch.
Yep.
And then I said, give a slight backstory for these twisted non-sisters.
Twins. They're sisters. They're just a twin. They're a specific type of sister.
The twisted swisters.
Yes.
The swisted twins.
Yes.
Give them some sort of backstory. I don't care about these girls at all. And I could, but I don't. So make me care, Blumhouse.
Okay. I like it. I think those would make it better. I would give this on a buzzer scale. I'm giving this a 1.75 buzzers. I think that's the first time I've gone to a quarter scale, but I'm giving it a 1.75 buzzers.
I'm giving it 3 buzzers.
Wow.
I thoroughly enjoyed watching this. Again, there were quite a few flaws that made me furl my brow while watching, and that took me out of the fun setup and themes that this show creates.
Right.
But aside from that, I also think I do like watching people be scared and tortured. I think that's a fun thing for me to watch. And normal as well.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, I've got somebody you can talk to about that if you need to.
Ooh, you know somebody who can send me waterboarding clips?
Wait, no. That was not what I was saying. The opposite.
Oh. You want me to send you my waterboarding clips?
Yep. All right. That's going to wrap up our episode on Hellevator, our first remote episode. We'll see how this goes. I don't know if this is going to line up or edit properly, but we'll see. This has been Hellevator. It's a show that you can, if you go to the Sling TV Facebook page. They've got one full episode, the season 2 premiere, posted on there. If you're looking to watch an episode of Hellevator, there are some clips on YouTube. Unfortunately, there's also a K-pop song called Hellevator, so it's very difficult to find because K-pop has taken over the fucking world. So you're gonna find a lot of that song, Hellevator, by some K-pop band. Until next time, check us out on Instagram at Come On Down Show. Email us at comeondownshow@gmail.com if you've got any reason to email us. If you've got any sick waterboarding clips you want to share, that's probably a good way to do it. Otherwise, we will see you guys next time, maybe from a blizzard again. Who knows? That's how you're going to sign off, with a
Goodbye, everybody. Next episode on Heaven and Hellevator.
Don't get hysterical.